All right, so Paul and I just got back from Angel Has Fallen. This is the third in the series for Gerard Butler. First one, he saves the president in the White House. White House has fallen. The next one, he's in London. He still saves the president again in London. And now he's off into some fishing trip to save the president, I guess. And he's blamed for killing the president because we all know that a national hero, twice saved over, would suddenly become the only person who could kill the president.
First suspect.
So in this movie, Mark didn't go and see it, so we're going to try and best describe it to him. And in case you're wondering, there will be spoilers.
Lots of spoilers.
Lots of spoilers. Spoiler alert. So...
Okay, wait.
What?
Before we get into this movie, what do you think of Gerard Butler? I like Gerard Butler movies.
Oh, yeah.
The movie 300 is in my top 5 movies of all time. Love that movie. And the first 2 movies of this trilogy, I think it's a trilogy, it might have more, I thought were awesome. Like, see them like 2 or 3 times awesome. Okay.
Good. Apparently he really likes this movie. Okay.
But wait.
All right, go. All right.
And then before I see this movie, I see that it's gotten 2 out of 5 stars on Rotten Tomatoes.
By the critics.
And I'm saying, oh my God, did everything just fall apart? Did they try to reach too far and not have like enough material for a movie?
But then,
we went in and it was awesome.
Okay, we may have a slight difference of opinion here as we go forward.
No, if you're talking about an action movie, it was awesome.
Okay, wait. Well, let's get into it. Describe to me why the movie was awesome and explain to Mark, and then I'll see if I can change anyone's mind.
Okay, what happens in the movie is you have the head of the Secret Service protecting the president, as he always does. He's coming towards the end of his career because he's been injured. He doesn't know if he can continue. He's an old dog.
He's not the head of the Secret Service.
Head of the protection detail.
Yes, because his boss is retiring and they want him to take over. He's still the head guard, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they go out on the fishing trip and the president says, yeah, once your boss retires, I want you to take over. He goes, oh, well, I'll think about it. And then he's going to take a break, and all of a sudden there's this big attack. He saves the president, but he and the president are the only ones who survive, and so immediately he's a suspect.
Well, explain to them the reason why. Because they're attacked by all these drones, and the drones are all marked with facial recognition programs. So they locked into every single person, and when they locked into him and started heading towards him, they avoided him.
But nobody knew that.
They discovered that in the movie. They did mention that in the movie. You're the only survivor and they targeted every single person with facial recognition except you.
Yeah, but there was also his DNA in the van.
And that.
So all that is story stuff that we don't have to spoil.
But there's everything is heading to him as the... it's not just because they ran it, he's the only survivor. It's because all the evidence points to him.
Yeah, so he's captured, he's being taken...
So they were setting him up.
Yes.
It's a big setup.
Okay.
But nobody thinks it's a setup. He's telling them, but they don't believe him.
Seems like kind of an elaborate way to set somebody up.
Yeah, there are big stakes for the people trying to set him up. And this is how they're doing it, and it's going to be successful.
Okay.
Except he's a kick-ass warrior, and he escapes, and he goes on the run. They can't catch him, and he leads them on this excursion to discover who the real bad guys are, and he has to save the president at the end. Okay, that's the plot of the movie. And it was awesome.
So he's like Rambo protecting the president.
Okay. So here's my thoughts. I enjoyed the movie. It opens with this scene of him going through this building and picking guys off, and we think he's going into like a den of thieves or something, terrorists or something, and it's like paintball at the end, okay? And then we meet his friend. And his friend, oh, blah, blah, you should come over and see the family. Right away, in my mind, I went, that's the bad guy. Yep, that's the bad guy.
Okay.
The second I saw him.
Okay, there are actually two bad guys in cahoots. And you know immediately when...
They're both
when
the bad guy.
The first time you see them, you know that they're the bad guys.
Both are bad guys. No matter how they tried to make it look like they're not, we knew right away.
And I was initially disappointed, but then I thought about it. If you've ever watched a show like Criminal Minds on TV, sometimes they'll have the shows where you discover who the bad guy is after going through the story, but sometimes they'll show you the bad guy and it's all about how you're going to catch them. And this was that kind of story.
Yes, except in those, they let you know he's the bad guy and they show you him doing bad things. In this one, they try and mislead you and it didn't work. Now, let's go on with chasing him. At one point, they have like 6 cop cars chasing him. He's injured and bleeding, and he's in a semi-truck. And he manages to outrun not only this in a semi-truck, the 6 cop cars in the woods on dirt roads and a helicopter. And they can't find him.
Okay.
See, I was okay until he hopped in a semi-truck and was driving away. Because to me, if he'd have just kept running in the woods or stolen a cop car or something. But a semi-truck outrunning the police cars.
And what happened to that semi-truck?
Oh, he comes up to a fork in the road and he takes it he misses the turn and he hits the ramp and it flips over. But as it flips over, it perfectly blocks all the road.
And then what happens to the cab of the truck that he was driving?
Except it didn't dissuade the helicopter from keeping up with him and finding him. But when he climbs out of the top of the semi-truck, he still disappears.
No, like here's where you're not very bright. The road goes along and there's no tree cover over the road. The helicopter can keep up with him and his lights, but when it flips over, he runs into the bush. The helicopter can't see him through the trees. He's an army.
Did you not see where the truck flipped over? It wasn't in the middle of the woods.
Yes, it was. He's an army vet. He's the head of the presidential security detail. They want him to be the head of the Secret Service. This guy knows his stuff, and he has a bunch of Gomer Piles chasing him.
That's fine. But there's so many things that just...
So you have to suspend...
You suspend
No,
belief.
you don't. You don't have to suspend any of your belief in this movie. That's what was so enjoyable about it.
Okay. At the ending of the movie.
At the end of the movie?
In the hospital. The president's in the hospital, just comes out of a coma. He talks to the president believes him, but they know the bad guys are on the way to the hospital to get him. There's 1 billion cops outside. There's 1 billion SWAT team. There's snipers and everything. They somehow manage to corner the president's patrol and block everybody else off. And they turn off all the radios and they block all the radios from all the FBI agents and everything that they can't be read anymore. And they track for they happen to be just driving and look down a ramp. Oh, there's the president. And they stop and they start chasing the president.
Well, that's what I would have done.
Yeah, of course, because that's how it works in the real life. But not only that, they're going, okay, turn off all the radios so they can't call for help. And then in the middle of this alleyway, echoing throughout the buildings, there's submachine gun fire back and forth, and nobody comes running. No one goes to help.
But the
snipers don't turn and start looking in that direction or nothing.
Okay, well, first of all, turning off and jamming all the radios, we already know that this is a very sophisticated, high-tech outfit. Like, they sent drones to attack the president with facial recognition.
Yes.
Okay, so we know that they could do that. Now, yeah, they know all the layout of the territory because they know the president is in that hospital and they're going to kill him. They have to make sure that he dies. So they've done all their research. They're the best of the best. And now
He's the best of the best. They're not the best of the best.
The guy leading the charge for the bad guys knows Gerard Butler's character. They were at war with each other, like in the army together. They know each other. They're the same person. They're best friends in real life almost. So he knows that the Gerard Butler character is going to take him in this route. while his entire army keeps the other guys busy.
Except the other guys, no one else showed up.
Because they were being kept busy by the army.
But they blow up half the hospital.
Yes, they did.
And nobody calls the military, no police show up, no nothing.
But if you recall, all of this happened within 10 minutes of the president saying, okay, I believe you that you're innocent. And then he says, okay, let's get you out of the hospital. Only 10 minutes has passed.
Actually, more than that, because they tried to track him with the IP address and all this other thing on the computer. They were trying to search out who was searching, and then the gas starts coming out, and then they start to fill the hospital with gas to explode it.
10 minutes.
More than 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
It took more than 10 minutes to fill with gas before they could light this explosion.
Okay, so...
He said 8 minutes when it first started going through, and that's before they started to do all this other stuff. So it took longer, but also... A whole hospital falls down. And for some reason, a single solo helicopter is allowed to fly up to the remaining half of the hospital and land on top. And not a single military plane or helicopter is anywhere to be seen with the President of the United States in that hospital.
Okay, now listen. Who was in control of the army at that time? The Vice President, who was...
No, he wasn't...
Spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler.
The bad guy.
But he wasn't calling the shots.
He was the president.
Yes, but he wasn't calling the shots. He was in an office arguing with other guys to sign all these other things and send all the military to do these all the point.
Because they showed one scene of what he does in the day. That's all he does in the day, right?
No, it was during that time because he was refusing to answer the call from the president who would have told him not to do it.
Okay. So I think what all this boils down to, what all of this entire movie boils down to, is that the first responders in Washington, D.C. have a terrible response time.
Terrible response time.
Okay, so what I see is happening is you are looking for really, really any nitpicky detail to criticize.
No, because you know what? I love these kind of movies. I do. I like these kind of movies.
It sounds like it.
It's just, I was watching this film, and before it happens again, I'm going... This is going to happen. This is what's happening. This is what... And it's so predictable nowadays.
Okay, did you want to watch an action movie, or did you want to watch a never-before-seen mystery movie?
No, but tell you what, I would have loved to not know who the bad guys that were in the first 5 minutes of the movie. I would have loved that.
Okay, but this movie said, these are the bad guys, watch and try to see the hero figure out how to get them.
Except he didn't have to, because he was spoon-fed who the bad guys were.
Wait, he
didn't have to figure it out. It was told to him.
What did he know, or did the audience know?
No,
we had to watch as he figured it out.
He's kidnapped by some guys from the police who kill all the police, and he happens to flip over a mask of one guy. The bad guy has 50,000 guys working for him. He flips over one mask. It happens to be the one guy that he had an argument with during the paintball session. The one guy.
But he recognized all of them.
Only after he did that guy.
That was the first guy.
Yeah, but that's when he went, son of a bitch. And then he did the other three guys. And that's when he said, oh, it's my friend, spoiler alert, that's out to kill me.
Well, I think that they would have had to have put that little argument in there just so the audience could keep up with what was going on, and not just
the audience knew.
We knew right away.
and they didn't hide it because they showed the guys making phone calls to each other to figure out, okay, where they're going to take them, and we all knew who the bad guys were. And so quickly at the beginning of the movie, he has to find out so that he could do his revenge plot, right?
And the only time they ever fooled me in the movie was when he goes, you won't have to find me, I'm coming after you. And then he goes to the president and he waits for the guys to show up. So he didn't go after them at all.
Right. So were there any twists in this movie? Anything that happened that was unexpected? Or did you just expect the entire thing to roll out the way it did?
No, not plot twists. There were a couple of moment twists or unexpected things that happened, but nothing such as a plot twist.
No,
so a fairly predictable movie.
It was a predictable movie. It was very well acted, very well good cinematography. Everything was good about the movie except that you knew who the bad guys were.
And you knew how the movie was going to end.
Pretty
And
much.
you knew sort of what was going to happen throughout the entire movie.
It's like when you're watching Star Wars. You know that they're going to blow up the Death Star and they're going to win. Okay? So, yeah, you knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
How are they going to do it? So
Okay.
this is the exact same thing. If you've seen any of the first two movies, you know how it's going to play out.
Okay. Now, I thought this movie actually lacked the humor that the first movie did. To me.
Well, once they introduced his father in the movie, that had a little bit of a pick me up.
But normally
Dads are funny.
he's the humor. He has all these funny lines. Because in this movie he's fighting depression, he's sore all over, he's taking pills, he's seeing doctors, he's lying to his wife. It kind of was to me it wasn't his normal character. And I know what they were going for because he was trying to decide whether he should retire or not. However, I thought I missed that humor from the character.
You know, they have that new Rambo movie coming out soon.
Yeah.
Last Blood.
Last Blood?
Last Blood.
Okay,
Home
well,
Alone, Rambo.
if you want an action movie, okay, I would say don't wait for Rambo because I have a feeling that's going to be a lot of cheese. Maybe it's going to be good. I don't
Hey,
know.
he's a cowboy now.
But but if you're looking for a good action movie, I'd say don't miss this. Like, don't wait for it to go on to Netflix no. You will feel good seeing this in the theater. The critics gave it 40%, but the audience score is 95%. So a 95% score by the audience means that people really liked it. There were even some people applauding in the theater after it ended, which is not very common where we are anyway. But yeah, we heard it. There was some clapping. It deserved.
Yay, it's over. Anyway, I'm not saying it wasn't enjoyable. I was just the writing was very.
Sure, that's not what you were saying.
No, because the writing was just so linear. It really was. It was a paint-by-number action film, and I was hoping for a little bit more for this one. Because I like the character.
But it's the third movie in a series. Like,
Yeah, but
they don't generally get better.
But the first one was good, the second one was good, and this one just seemed to be a little bit of a letdown to me compared
Only
to the other ones.
95% audience score. So it was a bit of a letdown.
Why not 96? Lazy.
Maybe they're just sticking it to the critics. And with that note, we'll end it here. I hope you liked this video. Let us know what you guys think. If you check out the movie, leave comments down below. Let us know, do you think this movie is, as he says it, awesome? Or like I said, a good action film, but a little bit disappointing. Either way, Mark thinks I'm right. So next time, check out more of our content. Maybe hit a like, hit the subscribe button. Until next time, we'll check you out at our next review.